Hi everyone, I'm back. Sorry it took me so long. I know I was supposed to be back in September, but unfortunately I actually did not pass my certification test the first time, but I studied really hard and I was able to pass a couple days ago, which is great. And the reason why I picked Tuesday as my new test date was because I knew that the new book sequel to Crave, Crush, came out, and I was like, there's no way I'm going to be able to study when this book came out. So I was very, very excited. The book actually came really early, considering I ordered it on Amazon. It came out at like 10 a.m. and my test was at noon, so I knew that pass or fail I would have this, but luckily I passed, so that was really, really exciting for me, and I was able to read this and I finished it last night. So those of you guys who have not read it, Crave is a book about monsters in a boarding school. So in the first book, if you guys haven't read it yet, I have a different video on it, but spoilers, I mean, obviously she's mated to Jaxon, which is the prince of vampires, and then she turns to stone, trying to protect him from his evil brother. And so then we're off to this book. This book, I'm honestly, I have a TikTok that I made and I'll link it about how I felt. I have really, really, really mixed feelings. I'm not gonna give any spoilers yet. The review I gave is about 3 stars out of 5, which is crazy because for Crave I gave 5 out of 5, and I was like, I wish I could give it more. Crave is what started my booktube and all the like, it got me into reading again, because I had read a long time ago, and then I went to college and I stopped reading. And then I picked it up on a whim, and then I just started reading and I loved it, and then I loved getting back into everything. So this was like, I was very excited. This was supposed to be like the encore to my Crave book, and it's not that it's bad. I think it just depends on the type of person you are. I definitely recommended this book to my cousin because she kind of likes this type of book. They did introduce a lot of new characters, so that's fun. So you get to see different powers and come into play, and you get to introduce to more people, like the king and queen of the vampires, so that's really nice. I just didn't like the direction that she went with the romance, and that's the reason why I read most of my stories. So if you guys look at my description, it says I'm into contemporary romance and fantasy. So romance is very, very important to me. If there's no romance in a book, I will not read it. I'll like stop reading halfway. That's just type of person I am. And then this one has a small love triangle, and I do not like it because it's just who I am. But if you like that type of thing, you might like it. So I checked the reviews on Goodreads, and it was like a split. There's half the people who loved it and half the people were like, what did she do? So I think it's really, really up to you. I will definitely read the 3rd book because, I mean, there's a chance that she is going in a completely different direction again, which would be kind of weird. And then maybe I will end up liking this series. She did announce a 4th book, so maybe she originally, I think it was supposed to be 3, but now she's making it 4, so maybe she just got inspired and she realized, you know. In the book, the Crave ended with Grace being stuck as a gargoyle, and Jaxon said he was going to help her out, and then we open up to this book with Grace already walking around. I accidentally read the inside flap, so that's the reason why I can talk a little bit about this one. I normally don't read the inside flap because I just like reading it, but because of the day of the test, I was like, oh well, I'm gonna take the test soon, so I'll just give myself a little taste. But it did talk about how Hudson was in, you know, with her. So that had spoiled it to me right away, because she actually doesn't figure that out until 100 pages in, I think. So that already put it in. So that wasn't really a spoiler for me to give. I just wish they would write, printing presses wouldn't do that. Publishing houses wouldn't do that, because kind of like I knew it was coming, so it wasn't like really a surprise. The writing is about the same, so I know a lot of people, they didn't like kind of how like she says like FML or like hashtags and stuff like that. She didn't do as much here, but there's a little bit. I personally like it because it gives me the feel of that teenager angsty-ness. So if you don't like that type of stuff, it continues. So yeah, so that's good. So yeah, like I said, 3 out of 5. It just depends on what you like. So I'll go ahead and start with the spoilers now. If you've not read this book or do not want to get spoiled, do not read past this point. Okay, so I am not a fan. I like love triangles. I don't hate them. It just depends on how it's written. I did not like this one because I hate love triangles between brothers. Like, hate them. Because I think it's weird. I mean, why would you, I don't know about most people in the world, no judgments, but me personally, like, if I date somebody, I'm definitely not gonna date their brother ever, because that's weird, for me. I actually knew that what was gonna happen, like, halfway. It was, like, super obvious. I mean, I know that some people didn't get, they were like I said, I read Goodreads, and a lot of people on Goodreads were like, I was so surprised, like, it happened at the end, and it just shocked me. Honestly, I could tell the way they were bantering that they were flirting, and I did not like it, because I was like, what are you doing? Why are you flirting with Jaxon's brother, Hudson, especially since he's supposed to be the bad guy? And I get it. She made it so that he wasn't the bad guy. That's not the point. I could tell, and then not only that, but then when Flint was like, oh yeah, you could totally be mated to more than one person, and I was like, all right, she's gonna make him mated. And then Jaxon lost the mate bond or whatever. I love mated stories. I have been reading it since my Draco and Hermione fan fiction, back in 2005, so a long time ago. Do not try to figure out how old I am. And so I would always try to read the mated stuff because I loved it. I enjoy it. So when I found out they were mated at the end of Crave, because you don't even find out they're mated until the end of Crave, I was like, oh my god, this is even better than before. Like, you know, in Jackson's point of view or stuff like that. It's like, and then you get here, and then, like, I feel like all the characters kind of did a 180. Like, Jaxon, who was so nice in the beginning, is really, really mean. That's the only way it would make sense. Another thing is that, like, suddenly Flint is gay, which is fine. You know, I like that she introduced gay characters and bisexual characters, but what part of me that made me kind of upset was because, okay, obviously Flint is likes Jaxon, and he's like, well, I was hoping, you know what I mean? And then all of a sudden Jaxon lost his mateship with Grace, and then Grace is now mated to Hudson. So what is it gonna snap in for Jaxon for Flint, and I'm supposed to be okay with it because, you know, like, oh well, Grace has Hudson now, and he's so powerful and he's so amazing, he's way better than Jaxon because he's way more powerful, and you know what, he actually listens to Grace, like, fuck, you know. But it's okay because Jackson's mateship is gonna, like, snap in for Flint, so, you know, and he's bisexual now, so we're good. So not only do I have the main character with this way better, cooler, like, prince guy who's so amazing, and by the way, British, you know, Jackson's fine because he has a dragon. It just really felt like, you know, like, kind of like ACOTAR, if you guys read that, A Court of Thorns and Roses. You know, first she was with Tamlin, and now she's with, what's his name? Rhysand. And I love Rhysand. I mean, I have a picture of, like, fan wear here of his tattoos in my room. So it's not even like, oh, it's because I hate triangles like this. Like, if it's done well, I don't mind. But it also remind me a lot of the reason why I'm okay with it is because it's like, okay, Rhysand and Tamlin aren't related. They're, like, warring or whatever. And it turns out she was mated to Rhysand and not Tamlin. So I was okay with it. I did like A Court of Mist and Fury, but it's kind of almost like the Vampire Diaries, where, like, you get 3 seasons of Elena with Stefan, and then all of a sudden she's sire bonded to Damon. But okay, she's not sire bonded to him, she just really loves him. And I didn't like that either. I just feel like the whole mated thing was just easier for us to like, oh, it's okay because they're mated, it's not their control. But it made me feel like he says it in Crave, the first book, saying yeah, a lot of people, it takes them thousands of years to find their mate, and some of them never find it. And she was so in love with Jaxon that she let Hudson, you know, she protected him, turned into a gargoyle with Hudson. And in those 3 or 4 months that she was a gargoyle, she apparently, her mateship, the feeling of being mated to him disappeared, and she could feel it with Hudson. And Hudson even says in his POV at the end of the book, saying like, oh, she had realized that, you know, she is mated with him, and the one with Jaxon disappeared, and she's gonna have to tell him. So you're telling me that you only love him because you're mated to him and not because of anything else. And now that you're mated to Hudson, you couldn't feel it while you were a gargoyle and trapped in your stone sub form, that you only felt it for Hudson, and sorry, Jaxon, you're just my friend. Like, then what's the point of being mated, you know? Like, the reason why people like myself love the mate thing is that it's like, okay, then you know it's your soulmate, you know, like, yeah, you might have trials and tribulations, but in the end, this is your person. It doesn't matter, because you can be mated to more than one person, and it can disappear, and it can come in and disappear and come back. It's just this back and forth that I don't like. But you don't, like I said, this is just the second book. She still has the third and fourth, maybe fifth, who knows. So maybe she'll write it in a way that I like. I actually highly doubt it. I think that what I said before, how she's gonna go with Flint with Jaxon, which is fine. It just seems like hey, you know, hey, bisexuals, you guys get this relationship, we're good. Like, well, now we're pushing him to the side. And why is he British? That doesn't even make any sense. They were British, but in his memory, he loves Jaxon so much that he gave him a horse, and then he's not British. I don't know. It just seemed like a fan fiction thing. Another reason why I'm not a fan is because it makes the first book null and void. I am the type of person who loves rereading, as you can see in the back. I do like reading. I like to collect books, and I do like reading. So like, I've read Twilight many times, I've read Harry Potter many times, I've read The Selection many times. You get the picture. So when it happens like this, it actually negates the first book, because like, when I reread it, I'm like, okay, well then I get this whole book of Jaxon. Why am I reading this? They don't even get together. And that was the main plot point, is that they were getting together and, you know, finding about being vampires and things like that. So now when I want to reread it, it's like, okay, well, to skip the first book. So what's the point of the first book? Maybe I'm just griping too much. I mean, I still gave it a 3 out of 5 stars because I still did like the writing. Honestly, if this was like an OVA or something like that, I would like it a lot more. Or like, she wrote it in a separate way, and then she did like an alternate reality or something. Like, that's the reason why I like fan fiction. Like, I read Harry Potter and I love that Hermione got with Ron. I think that they were a great couple, and I like that they got together. But my fan fiction is Draco and Hermione, because I think it's fun and I think it's cute, you know? Like, this just felt like this way off fan fiction that just went somewhere. But the writing's still good. I mean, I still enjoyed it up until halfway, when I realized that they were falling in love and they were totally mated together. So that when I read the last line, I knew it was coming. I wasn't even surprised. I was just like, okay, I knew it. Like, I was texting my BFF and I was like, so it happened. And she was like, oh, it happened already? And I'm like, no, it's gonna happen in about 200 pages. And I was right. So predictable. But I like predictable romance, and I think it's cute. But this just, I don't know if she was just trying to go for that wow factor, like, like there's a twist in the story and this is it. I'm still gonna read the third book, and depending on how the third book goes, I might read the fourth one. Maybe I just have too much high hopes because I loved Crave so much that I'm not thinking clearly. So maybe one day I'll go back and be like, whoa, it wasn't so bad. But right now, my feelings are hurt. How could she do this to Jaxon? And how could she make him so mean? It's like she had to make him mean. He wasn't mean before, but now he's mean. The good news is the third book is getting a rush release as well. It comes out in March, so I'll wait, what is it, October, November, December, January, March. So I only have to wait 6 months, kind of like how we had to wait 6 months for this one. Originally it was supposed to come out in March, but then she sped it up. So maybe, but the other thing that kind of sucks too is that Crave comes out as a movie. For sure, it was picked up by Universal unless they decided to cancel it because of COVID, but it was picked up back when it was first released in like March. So it's kind of like, and I was very looking forward to it, but it's like, okay, well, if I watch it, I'll just be like, well, look at all this romance that's happening, and it's gonna be negated now because she's gonna go with Hudson, who, you know, is funny and has an accent. I feel like I just like whined for 5 minutes. And that I did like the other characters. I was very sad when Xavier died. I was very sad, but I wasn't devastated because I had barely gotten to know him. The Lutar games, is that how you pronounce it, was interesting. I thought it was kind of weird that she was against students when she was trying to get a circle position. I don't know how that works, but that's okay. Well, thanks for watching. Please follow my YouTube, Twitter, my Goodreads, etc. My next video is going to be a book haul. So I had not been really buying anything because I was studying for my certification. But as a celebration, I accidentally bought a whole bunch of books, and you can see it down here. So I bought 24 books. So I'll do a book haul very soon. I'll release that in the next couple days. So I hope to see you there, and have a good night. And I'll see you next time. Thank you.
Andy, are you okay?
Oh, I'm fine. It's just that life is pointless and nothing matters, and I'm always tired. Also, I can't sleep. I'm overeating. None of my old hobbies interest me.